Jason is co-founder of Everspark Interactive, an internationally known search engine optimization expert. He was marketing correspondent for the Washington Post, Fox Small Business, CNBC, and CBS News. Hennessey was one of the first online marketers to study the patterns and correlations used by Google and YouTube as it relates to ranking a video in the Google search engine result. Please welcome Jason Hennessey.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Is this on? Can you guys hear me in the back over there? Hello. Is that better? First of all, I want to thank you guys for attending this session. I know you guys had 3 other sessions to attend, and I thank you so much for choosing this one. One of the things that I like to do when I come to conferences like this is I like to try to find 3 to 5 things that I can take away from the show that will pay for the whole trip. Now, you guys feel me there? Do you guys do the same thing? Have you guys already found those 3 to 5 things yet? Raise your hand if you've already found it. Perfect. That's what I love. So hopefully we can pick up 3 to 5 more here in this session. So my name is Jason Hennessey. I'm an SEO expert. Some of you may think that SEO stands for same excuses over and over again. And it's probably true. I just want to survey the room. How many people in the room have been burned by an SEO person in the past? Raise your hand. Okay. How many people in the room are doing their own SEO? Perfect. Perfect. You guys are going to love this session. All right, so what this is actually a session that we're going to be talking about from a blueprint that I published. It's called My SEO Blueprint. And for those of you that are taking notes, I'm selling these for $20 out there. I only brought 50 copies of these, but you can download the free digital version by going to that URL right there. So I'll give you a few minutes to write that down. All you'll do is put your information in there, and then there'll be emailed a download link where you can get a free copy of that. Raise your hand if you still need time. All right, I'll pause for just a second here. While you guys are writing that up, I too was in the wedding industry. I had a DJ photo and videography company right here in Las Vegas. Did that for about 10 years, and then in 2001, I started to get real passionate about Google, and I started to reverse engineer the Google algorithm, and since then we've built an agency, a digital marketing agency. We're based in Atlanta, Georgia now, and we've got about 50 employees back there, and we work on big brands and small companies, and so we can kind of help everybody. Is everybody clear here? You guys okay to move forward? All right. All right, so for the beginners, this is just a screenshot of Google, right? And it's constantly changing. The top right there is, that's a paid listing, as well as the right. When Google first started, there was no paid listings. It was all free, you know, and since then Google has become billionaires as a result of monetizing your content. So, and in this example here, I picked somebody. It's the #1 website that's ranking for the term Las Vegas wedding photographer. Her name is Deidre Wilson. Is Deidre here? Okay, cool. Because I'm gonna pick on her a little bit. All right, so here's her website. Nice website. All right, so let's get right into it. Here's the thing. We're going to talk about tips. I'm going to try to get through. I've got 25 tips, depending on the time that we have. I'll try to hurry it up here. But I'll give you a tip, and then I'm going to give you action items. Okay, things that you can do to increase your web traffic on Google. First thing is, it says, I feel the need for speed. Okay, so speed. What am I talking about? Okay, so when you go to Google and you do a search for whatever terms that you do, or when your customers and your prospects do a search for whatever terms that they're doing, the first thing that Google is looking at is how fast is your website to respond to the search query in question, okay? So that is one of the most powerful things that you can do to improve your Google rankings. If you think about it, Google just wants to be right? They always want to be right. So if somebody does a search for Las Vegas wedding photographer, and their bride getting married in 9 months, 12 months, and they do that search term, and they see that you're ranking #3, and they click on your listing, and it takes 2, 3, 4.5 seconds to load, that's a lifetime. Google's monitoring that stuff, right? So Google is going to see those patterns as it continues to occur, and they're going to continue to push you even further down to page 2 and 3 and 5. So first thing that you should do is there's a free tool that Google offers, and it's called Google Page Speed Insights. Definitely write that one down. You can just Google Page Speed Insights, and then it's so simple. All you do is you go to that tool, you put your URL right in there, and then you press Analyze, and it's going to spit back a score, anywhere from 0 to 100, okay? And it tells you if you are red, yellow, or green. If you're green, you're okay, right? But you still want to get better. You want to be in the 95%, 95 or higher percentage of the page speed tool. Most people that will do this query are probably going to see themselves between 60 and 70. That's about average. And that's one of the things that you can do to improve it. The cool thing that I like about this tool is that after you press Analyze, it's going to show you exactly what you can do to increase the page speed. Now, this is probably going to be a little bit too technical for most of the people in the room here, but if you have a webmaster or if you have a developer or somebody else that you can call, you just tell them to run this page speed query for you and just fix everything that Google tells you to fix and hold them accountable. You don't have to know if it's fixed or not. All you have to do is go back and run the report again, and you'll see if they actually did the work that they said they were doing. Good tip? Good tip. All right. All right, so here's the action items. Run the site through the Google's Page Speed Insights, take the recommendations, give them to your webmaster, continue to rerun it until you get a score of 95 or higher. And then they also have the same thing for mobile page speed and your user experience. A lot of people don't know this though. Mobile page speed is just as important. If your mobile page speed is not quick enough, Google will take you out of mobile search. Did you know that? So you have to make sure that your site is mobile friendly. You got to make sure that it's potentially a responsive design website. But if you really care about in mobile search, and everybody should because brides are using these little things right here to plan their wedding, make sure that you do the same exact thing for mobile too. Time to get dedicated. And what I mean is a dedicated server. All right, so here's something, a tool that you can use. It's called selfseo.com. You go in there and you put in your website address right there in the enter URL, and it's going to show you your IP address. And then this is another tool. It's called Majestic SEO Network, Neighborhood Checker. And what you'll do is you'll put that in there, and you'll be able to see who you share the same bandwidth with. So, for instance, you might be on a shared server with other websites. You might even be on the same exact IP address as other websites, and you might not even know about it, right? So sometimes if somebody does something on an IP address that you're also on, you are guilty by association because you're in that same kind of neighborhood with them. So I would highly recommend, if you're using like a $10 per month server and it's shared, invest in your business. Invest, $50, $100 per month and get a dedicated server. Because this right here is detrimental. I can see her IP address, I can see who she shares the server with. And the other thing here too is if this website down here at the bottom, if they decide to put a lot of videos up, well, as people are watching videos on their website, it's slowing your website down, right? So you have to be careful about that. An extreme example here is there's a massage escort company that's on the same exact IP address as her. And she doesn't know that, and it's the same exact IP address. And that's just me doing some forensics and seeing this stuff. She probably would never know that, right? So, and you probably would never know that. I got the phone number up there later. So action items, call your hosting company, see what kind of host that you're on. And if you're paying $10 per month, it's probably a shared hosting environment. So inquire about a dedicated solution with a unique IP address. You always want a unique IP address so that you have no associations to anybody at all. And then have your webmaster migrate the site or sites to your new server. Good tip? Yeah. All right. Protect your domain. Okay, so When you go out to GoDaddy or register.com or wherever you have your domains, and you buy a domain name for $8, whatever it is. So that's one thing that you have to do to actually just be in business online. What most people don't realize, though, is that the date in which your domain expires is also a variable that Google's looking at, right? So in this case right here, this is Deidre's website. It says it expires on December 31st, 2014. Okay? You got to remember, Google is nothing but a mathematical algorithm, right? It relies on signals. That's the only thing that it can see. It's not a human being. It doesn't have people checking the website. It relies on signals. So this is one of the signals that they look at. So to Google, because this expires on December 31st, 2014, Google thinks you're not going to be in business for much longer, right? So it's super important that you go out and you check when your domain is about to register. This is a free tool that you can use. It's called who.is. You put your URL in there with the www. Pop it in there and it's going to tell you two things. It's going to tell you when your domain was first registered and then when it expires. And if you see that your domain is about to expire in 12 to 24 months, I highly recommend you go out and renew it, pay the $50 and get it updated for about 5 to 10 years. Another thing I just want to mention too is, let me just grab a sip of water here. So domains are like fine wine. Right? Domains are like fine wine. The older that they are, the more valuable that they become. Right? So check your domain, see when it was last registered, see when it was first registered, and that's something that you might want to look at too. If you want to acquire a domain name, you can look at the age of the domain with this tool before you acquire it. All right, so log into your register and then renew your domain for at least 5 years into the future. Measure and monitor. Okay, time to start communicating with the search engines. In years past, I want to say 5, 7 years ago, you had no communication whatsoever with Google. Vanessa Fox, who used to work at Google, she came out with this thing called Google Webmaster Tools, because she felt that Google had to be able to provide transparency to what's going on in the world of your website. So they came out with this thing called Google Webmaster Tools, and it's just amazing. You have to install it. So definitely an action item here is to install Google Webmaster Tools. While you're at it, there's another search engine called Bing and Yahoo, and Bing and Yahoo share the same search. So like if you do a search on Yahoo, it's the same results that you do on Bing. So I recommend that you also install the Google and Bing Webmaster Tools. Things like this. You might not know if your site is penalized. Like there's actually a Google jail. It really is. And so there's a Google jail. So if you go out and you do some things that look a little malicious and it's against the Google guidelines, well, there's a search quality team that's actually looking at that, and it sends triggers, and it will actually... Has anybody ever been penalized by Google? Raise your hand. Be proud. Where are you? There is a guy back there. It's not fun. It is not fun at all. So you'll get a notification from Google saying, your site has done something in violation to our Webmaster Tools and our guidelines, and therefore you have been penalized. And then you have to hire smart guys that know SEO to try to figure that out, because good luck with that. It's not easy. And then there was a time too where there was this whole thing called negative SEO, and it's where I know that Deidre ranks #1 on Google for Las Vegas wedding photographer, and I'm also a photographer, and I'm number 3, and she's stealing all my traffic. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to build spammy links to her website and do all this malicious stuff so that I can get her penalized. Right? And when she becomes penalized, then I move up, right? And so that's tactics that people use, even in the wedding space. It's something it's a serious thing, and it's mostly used in the PPC arena. When I say PPC, it's porn, pills, and casinos. So it's different. That's a whole nother industry that we'll not get into, except for that guy. We'll talk. Google Analytics, you got to have it. If you don't have Google Analytics, you should have some type of analytics, because otherwise you don't know what's going on with your website. You don't know where people are bouncing. You don't know where people are entering the website. You don't know where people are exiting the website. So it's really good data. And if you really care to learn more about that, I highly recommend you either try to become analytics certified, Or just watch a couple of YouTube videos and they'll kind of show you how to explore Google Analytics. Create Google Webmaster Tools, Bing Webmaster Tools, and Analytics, and then just get those all installed. Okay. Must have a blog. How many people have a blog? Awesome. Hold on, keep your hands up. All right, how many people have blogged this week? Keep your hands up. Yes, it is only Tuesday. Okay, so it's one thing to say, yes, I got a blog, I can check that box, right? If you're not using your blog, it's not as valuable as it should be. Okay, so one thing that you have to consider is Google really cares about large websites, right? Because without us, the content contributors out there is no Google, right? So Google can't monetize things when people are searching if there's not people that are adding value. So one of the things that Google rewards is sites that are constantly adding value with fresh content. Right, so you could install a blog on your website. One of the most popular ones is WordPress. That's a very easy to use blog. WordPress was so awesome when it first came out because most people don't know how to code. So in order to add a new blog post years ago, you would have to know how to code and be able to add the blog post. So WordPress came out and they made it so that anybody can use a blog and you don't have to know all the technical jargon to do so. So there's WordPress right there, WordPress.org. You can go to that. It's free. You're just going to have somebody that knows programming or HTML to install it for you. This is a cool way to see how many pages Google sees on your website. So if you put site : in the search bar like that, it's going to spit back a result. And in this case for Deidre Wilson, she has 442 pages indexed on the web. Now, is that good or is that bad? I mean, it's all relative to her industry, right? So if she was competing for a term like, let's just say, play poker online, that would be small, right? She wouldn't be as competitive. But because she's competing with other Las Vegas wedding photographers and she ranks #1, that is competitive. Another thing to think about too is Google sends their crawlers and their spiders back to your websites. And the more frequently that you're building content and adding value, Google is going to come back and continue to crawl and index your website even faster. And that's one of the reasons why Google goes to CNN like every 30 to 45 seconds and recrawls it. It's because they're constantly adding new content to their website. So something that you should do, just start adding fresh content, even if you just do it once a week, because Google is going to reward you. You look like a very stale website, and they're never going to put you on the first page of Google if the last time that you updated it was a month or 3 months or 6 months ago. All right, Las Vegas wedding photographers. So this is how you can actually see if you have been cached correctly or when you have been cached correctly. So there's a little arrow next to your URL that most people probably don't see or never click on. But when you click on that, there's a word there that says cached. And when you click on that, it's going to show you this gray bar at the top of the search results. And in this case, it says here that she was last indexed on September 11, 2014, right, at whatever time that reads. So one thing here is that if you go and you see that your site was cached last month, then there's a problem. And the problem is that you're not adding valuable content enough. Make sure you have a content management system, aka blog. If yes, keep blogging regularly. If no, install one and start blogging regularly. All right, time to review your content. How many people have paid somebody else to write their content for them? It's okay, it's a very common practice. The problem with that, though, is if you paid somebody else to write your content, and let's say that it was 3 years ago and you haven't gone back and kind of edited, there's a good chance that the content looks like this, right? Because SEO constantly is changing. and what worked yesterday doesn't work today. And so we're the best dental office in Washington, D.C. If you need a dental work at our dental office in Washington, D.C., we'd love to help. Our dental office in Washington, D.C. is located on the corner of 1st and Main Street in Washington, D.C. We look forward to seeing you at the best dentist office in Washington, D.C. Right? The problem is that used to work. You know, go back 10 years ago, and that's what you needed to do if you wanted to rank at the top of Google. It's how many times can you put the keyword in there, and if it's more than the other guy, there's a good chance that you're going to rank. And so it became a problem, and Google got smarter and wiser, and so they don't care about that stuff anymore. Just write naturally. You don't have to try to squeeze so many keywords in there. It's just write naturally. Google will see what you're relevant to, and they'll rank you accordingly if you're practicing good SEO. Questions to ask yourself before writing. You know, what is the demographic of your customer for every page? You know, what does a day in their life look like? What are some of their pain points and problems? You know, what are the goals that they have when they land on this page? What questions do they have? You know, what are some of the common objections that come up with your product or service? You know, so these are the type of questions that people really care about. You know, and stop selling. You know, stop selling. Stop talking so much about you. You know, I'm the best DJ in all of Atlanta, and I've won this award and this award and this award. They don't care about that. They want to know that their wedding is going to be amazing, and the DJ is going to show up 2 hours of time, and he's going to be dressed in a tuxedo, and he's going to, you know, that's the kind of stuff that they care about. You know, so go back and read your content, and if you wouldn't feel comfortable hiring yourself after reading that, I'm serious, you'll probably start reading your content and you'll be like, man, I don't think I would hire myself reading this. Then there's a problem, and just go back, and the good news is you can fix it. Just rewrite it. So read your own content, every page, from your customer's perspective. And if you don't feel comfortable buying from yourself, again, just start rewriting it. All right. This is the big one here. Everybody in SEO talks so much about links. How many heard of link building? Link building, raise your hand. You can't rank at the top of Google if you don't do link building. And that's true. That is true. Links are very important. So Google cares about two things. They care about relevance, and then they care about popularity, right? So you have a web page that's optimized for Las Vegas wedding photographer, and so does 500 other people, right? So how is Google going to decide who to rank higher than the other person? You know, nobody's getting paid off at Google. It's just a matter of some variables. So the relevance is one, and the thing that's more important is the popularity, right? How many people are linking back to you, right? So internal links. So you go out and you build a Facebook profile, right? Well, there's a link there that's telling you that you're a legitimate business because you have a Facebook profile and there's a link back to your business. You have a LinkedIn profile, right? And so there's these things between no follow links and do follow links, right? Have anybody ever heard of no follow and do follow? That's for my more advanced people in the room that study SEO. So no follow, like Facebook is a no follow link, right? So you don't get any page rank passed to your website by having a link from Facebook, right? But you do get what is referred to as trust value, right? So there's a trust value that's passed from Facebook when you link to that website. Getting a Wikipedia link is probably one of the strongest links that you can get. It's very hard to get that type of link, but if you can get a Wikipedia link, if you can get a profile built about yourself or your company, that's one of the most trusted links on the web. So that's just the difference. There's no follow links, and then there's do follow links. But I want to focus more on not the internal links that are coming into your website. I also want to focus on the external links that are coming off of your website. And there's probably SEO practitioners out there that would disagree with me, and they say, don't link out at all because you want to preserve all of your page rank. You know, don't link out. And so every single web page on your website has a thing called page rank, right? And I'd probably guess that the average page rank in this room for most websites is about a 3 or a 4. It goes from 0 to 10, and it goes exponentially higher in value by an 8 multiple as you move from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In fact, there's probably only maybe like a dozen page rank 10 websites out there on the web, and Google's not one of them. Twitter homepages, though. So who are you linking out to? So here's the thing: if you don't have a Facebook page, a Twitter page, a LinkedIn page, and a Google Plus page, as well as YouTube, Go out and set those up immediately. And when you set that up, make sure that when you're building out your profile, that you have a link pointing back to your website. Don't miss that important detail, okay? So that's that. But the other thing is, on your website, make sure you have links out to all of those profiles to confirm to Google that you are connected to these different profiles that you have. So I would probably just put it on the footer of your website or somewhere at the top, but link out to those 5 right there. Super important. Second thing, do you have a biography section on your website that talks about you and your staff? Okay. Well, if you do, where did people go to college? What associations do people belong to? Link out to that stuff, right? Because it's Google seeing that you're a real company doing real things, and you're sending associations, right? So there's a thing in the world of SEO called association and co-occurrence. And so by linking out to, you're an advertiser on the Perfect Wedding Guide, link out to the Perfect Wedding Guide. It's just sending associations that you are in the wedding industry, right? Google needs those type of associations. Some more. So when you're blogging, as we're going to do every week, right? When you're blogging, be sure to link out to people that you're blogging about. If there's somebody that you are quoting, link out to their website. If you're referencing something that is in a New York Times article, link out to the New York Times article, right? There should be between 5 and 7 links on every 500-word blog post. Don't just write content. You've got to start to build out the association and the co-occurrence. All right, so have you been mentioned in the media lately? Well, create a press page about yourself and talk about, we've been mentioned in the New York Post and the Wall Street Journal and all these other places, and reference the link that, the page that you're on, right? Because there's a thing now called co-occurrence where Google can actually see your name and text and understand that you are associated to your website, right? So you don't necessarily need a link from the Wall Street Journal to get the credit from the Wall Street Journal. If you're referenced in that post and you're linking out to it, saying, hey, I'm referenced in this post, Google can see that it's referred to as co-occurrence. Are those good tips? Good, okay. So here's some of the action items here. I know we're short on time, so and again, if you download the book, you'll have all of this stuff here. All right, strategic blogging. Let's talk about that. So we have a blog. We know where we need to link out, but what should we be blogging about? What are some of the topics? Don't just get up there and just start to write. That could be very dangerous. You and be very careful of who you let write on your blog too, because they now represent your voice and your company's voice. So let's talk about some good blogging strategies. Okay, industry news. This is a great one. Set Google alerts for your industry. Right, the Wedding MBA. This is a great event here, right? There's people probably talking about this for months. There's people blogging about it. So if you see something that is compelling, create a blog post with your thoughts on that matter, right? So I can't wait to be at the Wedding MBA, and according to this person who already blogged about the Wedding MBA and link out to them, they seem to think that there's going to be 3,000 people there, but I think there's going to be 5,000 people. Just kind of create your own blog based on some things that are trending within your industry. Interview others. This is great. You guys are making great connections here at the show. Maybe you can grab Sonny from Wedding Wire and interview him. I'm sure he'd be delighted to do that kind of stuff. And interview people, because that's the kind of stuff that there's so many good benefits of doing that. It's quality content, right? So people care about what some of the industry leaders have to say, and because you're interviewing them, now you are starting to become your own industry leader in the marketplace. But the cool thing about that is a guy like Sonny probably has, 10,000 followers on Facebook and so many thousand followers on Twitter. Well, once you publish that post about him, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to tweet it, right? And now more people are now looking at your blog and reading your content. That's a money tip right there. All right. Have someone interview you. Same thing. There's nobody that knows more about your business than you. right? As people are starting to contact you and call you up and ask you questions about your business, you probably repeat the same questions over and over and over again to different brides and different clients. Well, start to write down the questions that people are asking and create a whole list, and then once every 2 weeks, have somebody just interview you. And you can use this free tool, it's called freeconferencecall.com, where they can interview on the phone, right? And you can record the call, and then you can get the call transcribed. There's a couple different transcription services. Once it's transcribed, you get the call edited, and now you have 5,000 to 10,000 words of content, of questions that people are actually asking you every day. That's just a great way to generate content, because people don't like to I don't like to, go and blog for hours, I'm just not me. I'd prefer to kind of be up here speaking and on calls and being interviewed, and then take that content of me talking and transcribe it, and you got 10,000 words of content that you can use, and there's your blog strategy. So, it's a good tip. Live blog, is anybody live blogging here today? If one person in the room was doing that, think about how much traffic you can get to your blog. That's a tip. Like every time you go to like SEO conferences and digital marketing conferences and inbound marketing conferences, you see people just kind of live blogging, and everybody's competing, because they want to get their post completed first, and then they share it on all the, because there's so many people that would love to be here, but they can't, right? And so if you're the person out there that's live blogging and using the Wedding MBA hashtag, and saying, here's a great presentation, I just learned so much about this topic, and here's 10 tips that you should do, right? And you tweet it and use the Wedding MBA that people from home are following. I mean, think about how much traffic that you can get to your website. So, another tip. Meetups are great. You can use meetup.com. Every Wednesday morning, we host a meetup at our office. It's called What's New in the World of Google, right? And Google is constantly changing. And every week we have enough information to talk about at this meetup. So we invite other marketers, we invite some of our competitors, we invite some of our clients, we invite some of our prospects, and we do a whole full breakfast for them, and we come there and we just talk about some of the things that are changing with Google. We have somebody there that's taking notes, and that's going to create a live blog post. So every week now we're keeping current, so our clients get to see that we're really cutting edge and they know that we're on top of it. But then the other thing too is, you have some of your competitors here now that you're going to reference in the blog post, and then they're going to link back to you too, right? And those are the best links you can get, is when your competitors are linking back to you, right? Because now there's no way that they'll be able to outrank you on Google when they're linking to you and you're not linking to them, right? So, action items: create a content calendar using some of the strategies mentioned, publish content to your blog and make each post, make it nice, have somebody kind of add some nice photos and stuff to it, and then promote your content via social media, and then through your email marketing. That's important, just get it out there. Tweet it, Facebook it, Instagram it. I'm not really on Instagram. All right, anybody on Google+? It's cool. It did. So with Google+, you guys remember when you started to see the photos in there? Like you had your publisher and you become an author, and when you start to do Google searches, you start to see like your face there and all these other faces there. Do you guys remember that? It's not there anymore. And the reason for it is because Google sometimes do things as an experiment. Right? And the problem with that is because people are attracted to faces, right? So when you're doing Google searches, you're attracted to faces, right? So you see somebody's face and this person's face, and you're immediately clicking on those things, right? Well, where does Google make their money? Not on the faces. That's the free stuff. So less people were clicking on the paid stuff. So they immediately removed that. But Google Plus still does have a purpose, and I recommend that you keep it and continue to use it. And anything that Google does, you always want to be using it. Has anybody heard of Google Virtual Tours? I'm going to go off on a tangent here. Google Virtual Tours, who has them done? All right, everybody should have a Google Virtual Tour done of their company. I've seen patterns where what I'm referring to is like you've got A, B, C, D. You know how you've got the local listings there when you do a search for a local term and you don't know why I can't get into those listings. Like, what am I not doing that everybody else is doing? Yeah, so one of the things that you can do is you can hire a Google virtual photographer to come out to your office. And if there's any is there photographers in the room here? Become Google virtual photographers. Yes, that is such a huge market and there's such a demand for Google. It's so easy to do that. It's going to take probably 3 months. You've got to go through training and now you're a certified Google photographer and you get a link from Google too. And that's a super strong link. So I recommend if you're a photographer, just not in Atlanta because that's where I'm at. But definitely do that. So get a Google virtual tour done. All right. It depends. It's not really regulated, so it's up to the photographer and how they choose to charge you for that. But in most cases, I'd say between $500 and $3,000, depending on how big your location is. Yeah. If your office is your home, you can't get a Google virtual tour. And plus, you don't want people coming into your home anyway. But yeah, that's the problem with that, is if you work from a home-based office, you can't get that benefit of that. Yeah, you should still definitely become one, though. All right, be on the lookout for copycats. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Duplicate content is a killer. It really is. Okay, so you might have duplicate content problems if you hired a blogger who plagiarized other articles on the web and you don't know it. Right? So that is so bad for your website. If you have somebody adding content and they're just basically copying and pasting it from their website to your website, well, if you don't know about that, that's one of the reasons why you're not ranking on the top of Google, because Google hates plagiarism. Second reason is you might have multiple websites that have similar content. It is so bad. It used to be a good practice to have multiple websites that are competing for some of the same terms, and you want to have position 1, 2, and 3, therefore you have 3 websites, and that's your strategy, and that's what somebody sold you on. Well, that is so bad. You should never have 3 websites competing for the same term, because Google sees that, and they see that you're trying to be manipulative, and they're just going to take out all 3 of those websites, and you're not going to rank for anything. So if you have multiple websites competing for the same terms, something that you want to look at. Someone stole your content and published it as their own. Well, what can you do about that? Right? Because you don't own their web. You can reach out to them and you can beg and plead. But I'm going to share with you, I'm just telling you the reasons, and I'm going to share with you the recourse that you can take here. Or you set up your site in such a way that it's created multiple instances of your content, which is confusing Google, and you don't even know that either. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so Deidre Wilson, she has a website, and at the top there you can see that it's www.deidrewilson.com. However, if you take the www out, it's still deidrewilson.com without the www. To Google, that means you have 2 web pages that have the exact same content on it. Right? And there's probably a lot of people in this room that have it set up like that. You don't know it. The proper way to fix that is referred to as using a 301 redirect. And I recommend that you 301 redirect the non-www version of your website to the www version of your website. That's a killer. And people don't even know that. That's one of the tips that you got some of your money back right there. All right, so the great tool that we can use here is Copyscape. This is an amazing tool, and it's amazing because it's free. All you do is you go in there and you put your URL and you press search, and it's going to spit back anything that it sees that is instances of duplicate content out there on the web that they're aware of. And when you click on that first listing there, it's going to show you where that duplicate content is located, and it's going to highlight specifically where on the page that duplicate content is located. Right? So you want to become aware. Question? There is free, and it'll get you so much, but hopefully you don't have a lot of duplicate content problems. But if you do, then yeah, you might have to pay for it, and it's pretty cheap. I'd recommend paying for it. If you see that there's a lot more and there's 10 pages, definitely pay for that. But there's probably a good chance that there might only be 5 results, and that's free to check that. No, this will do the whole entire site. So you put your URL in there. It'll recognize your whole site, and it'll show you all the pages that are out there, not just the home page. Yep. So what happens if you find somebody that has plagiarized your content? And you've reached out to them, you emailed them, you called them, and they're just not responsive. So there is something that you can do. You can file what is referred to as a DMCA takedown request. This is the URL that you can use. It's free to file. And then what will happen is they'll basically get penalized as a result of that, and there's recourse that they take. The other thing that you could do too, I'm not sure if I put a slide here, there's also a service where if you pay $10 per month, then you could put this badge on your website so that DMCA is constantly looking at things like Copyscape, and anytime anybody plagiarizes your website, they see it before you do, and they immediately take action. I highly recommend that. It's only $10 a month. It's DMCA, and it's a little badge that's on your content at the bottom too, which is also another trust symbol to Google too. So, photographs are hard. I don't think it does that for photographs. I'd have to think about. Well, yeah, so you can use Google Image Search. And if you upload your photograph on Google Image Search, so if you go to Google Images, there's an upload button. And then when you upload your photo, you'll be able to see all of the images that are out there. So yes, to answer your question, if you see that there is a page that has your photo on it, because your Copyscape won't see the photos, obviously, but if you use Google Photo Search, then you could use DMCA takedown to actually report that, yes. All right. All right, so hire an expert for the technical stuff. I'm speaking very high level here. Unfortunately, I don't have the time, and I'm sure I don't want to bore you with all the technical jargon, but it's super important. So if you don't have a relationship with an SEO expert or somebody in your area, you definitely want to have somebody to do just a forensic on your website to see what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and just take care of all of the technical stuff. That's very important. Here's some of the technical jargon that person should know and they should be looking for. This is super important, because without this, you really can't rank at all. Like if you've got all these critical blockers that are preventing Google from really caching and spidering your website correctly, everything that I'm sharing with you today, it's a moot point. So you got to make sure you get rid of all those blockers out there. I'm sorry, you guys got the photo of that? All right. It's like another language. This is a tool that we use to monitor websites, and we actually do an audit of websites. So if you have a website and you want to have somebody do an audit and actually do a full forensic of that, it's a 6-hour audit that we do. So if you want to do that, my email will be at the last slide here. You can shoot me an email, and we can certainly we can look at that as well. That's my Twitter follow tag as well. So this is what the report looks like. We literally look at everything, and we tell you if you've got red box, green box, or yellow box, so you can see what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and what are the critical stuff that you need to fix. And that's the report that you get, and it's probably about 15 to 20 pages long. And then we sit on a phone call with you. It's a join.me screen sharing, and we go over everything with you and your webmaster, whoever else is going to fix this stuff. And if you can't fix it, we can also fix that stuff too for you. It's 6 hours. Our hourly rate is $165 an hour, so it's $9.90, I think, for the audit. This is the URL. If you want to take a look at that, there's a video there that talks about the audit. You could visit that. All right. How much time we have? We got 37 seconds, and then it's time. You guys are getting value out of this. I'm just running. I would love that. Who can approve me of that? All right, so video plus blog plus you, it's vlogging. Here's the thing. All this stuff that I'm talking about is in this book. It really is. I'm just kind of re-communicating this to you. And there's 50 tips in this book. I gave you guys a free digital download. I've got like 50 of them out there. So if you want to take those and read those on the plane with you now, they're $20. So you can come see me. I just want to do one last thing here. I'm going to scroll through all this. Yada, 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 yada. And I want to end with one thing. 10 strongest wedding directories that you should be on. Okay? Write these down. All right. So what you should do is do a search for wedding, your own Las Vegas wedding photographers, Chicago DJ. What websites do you see on the first page of Google all the time, right? Well, if you see those on the first page of Google all the time, then you should be on those websites. So what are they? Okay, Wedding Wire. That's number one. It's a stronger link than the Knot. You believe that? So from the SEO value, Wedding Wire is a stronger link than the Knot. Number two is the Knot. I'm going to move quickly because I'm going to get kicked off stage here. Number three, Martha Stewart Weddings. Number four, wedding.com. Because it's an age of 1996 and it's a category killer. If you're on wedding.com, that's a great link. My Wedding, projectwedding.com, weddings.com. I think that's another Knot property, I think. Perfect Wedding Guide. Where's Tammy at? She's here, I think. Wedding Style Magazine, Once Wed, and that's the 10 that I have. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. I'll be outside to answer some questions, and have a good rest of the show.